Okay. Let's give it 1 or 2 minutes. Hello, everyone. Let's give it a few minutes for everybody to join. Welcome to the first joint EOSC Enhance and EOSC Future webinar, and possibly also the last, since EOSC Enhance is finishing in a couple of weeks. Welcome, everybody. I'll just give another minute for people to join, as I see people are still joining in the group. Today we'll go over the EOSC Portal, the user interface especially, and we hope to have a research full audience. So let's see, I'm Federico Drago. In the meantime, let me introduce myself. So I'm Federico Drago, the Work Package 5 leader from EOSC Enhance, the communications manager. I'm joined today by Ilaria Fava from the EOSC Future project, Bartosz Wilk from the EOSC Enhance project and EOSC Future, and Anka Hienola from EOSC Future as well. So we will introduce some of the most interesting developments that have taken place in terms of the user interface and the user experience for the EOSC Portal Marketplace in the last year. And we will then also get back to you to get your feedback about some of these findings and to understand how the experience can be further improved in the upcoming months and years. So I'll start with my presentation. Let's just give a quick overview of what the EOSC is, because of course not everybody knows that. So the EOSC is an initiative. It stands for European Open Science Cloud. It is intended to become a web of fair data and services, a system of systems it's been called as well, because basically it is not a single entity, but it is more of a federation of existing initiatives and catalogs and resources that will enable researchers to find, access, and reuse, as you can see, these resources to tackle scientific and societal challenges. So the core idea is to have access to this data, facilitate publication and sharing, and foster multidisciplinary collaboration, connecting disciplines that usually we have seen in the past that quite often work in silos. These will have a direct impact on researchers. You can benefit, of course, with an easier access to data, to services, tools. You can take advantage of fair data. And of course, these will give even more visibility to people involved in specific fields and people who are interested in collaborative open science, with giving lots of opportunities to researchers who want to do this. The Eos Portal, which is the component we will talk about today, is a part of this ecosystem, is one of these systems that will be a part of the EOSC. And it's currently being managed by the EOSC Enhance project. It is a 2-year project, which I represent today, which is finishing this month, which had the task of bringing together previously existing initiatives and portals into a single environment. This will be handed over to the EOSC Future project, which started this year, and it will take over all of the operations on the portal starting from next month, starting in December. And this webinar is also a way to show this connection, and we want them to be we want you to know that EOSC Future will be in charge of all these operations in the future. So these were the objectives of EOSC Enhance. Of course, we had to enhance the portal, both the service provider interface and the user interface, increasing user demand, which is what we're doing today, to accelerate the deployment and uptake of EOSC Portal services and resources, and enabling open access to these services. You can find more about the project at this link. The legacy of EOSC Enhance will be these key exploitable results. You can find more information about them on the website, but the one that we will talk about more specifically today is the marketplace. So it is the user-friendly interface that researchers can access, log in through a federated login. You'll learn more about it in the next presentations, and you can find resources to use for your research. Reaching out to end users, which is the target of today's webinar. This is something that both EOSC Enhance and EOSC Future have done in the past year, especially because we had several meetings with projects in the first part of our project, reaching out to specific research communities. So, for example, the ESFRIs or the regional EOSC projects. Then we moved on to a more public feedback gathering session, which was carried out this year, especially with webinars, user surveys, public meetings, and so on. And EOSC Future joined this effort with their user persona survey, which was targeted at creating these personas that the marketplace would be targeted at. And my colleague Anka will talk about it in a minute. So basically, the two projects have been aligning with each other throughout 2021. And today we will discuss some of the findings and developments of this collaboration. You can find some useful links here. You can access, of course, the marketplace. There is a virtual tour that teaches you how to use the marketplace itself, and some other useful links that you can find here. So this is all for my introduction. I'll just leave the floor to my colleague Ilaria, and I'll just remind you that if you have any questions, you can ask them directly in the Q&A functionality on Zoom, so that the speakers can take them up even in the background while other speakers are in charge. So thank you, and please, Ilaria.
Federico, so I'll be quick and I will be giving you a very quick introduction to EOSC Future. So you already heard from Federico about EOSC in general, and here is a bit more in the disconnected silos of information into a federated infrastructure. So this is the EOSC in the practice. And how this is going to be implemented is going to be with an EOSC governance and with a set of funded projects that revolve around the EOSC as a concept. And about those, the EOSC Future is the flagship project that is supporting at the moment the implementation of the EOSC. As Federico mentioned, EOSC Future started this year, and it will run until almost the end of 2023, with quite a number of beneficiaries working together to implement this idea of the EOSC. And you might recognize some of them in the cloud of the projects here. So what does EOSC Future aim to deliver? Here you see a glimpse of all the functionalities, but in reverse order. And what is more attaining to what we are talking today is the user engagement. So in addition to the EOSC user persona survey that Federico mentioned before, EOSC Future also started a user group that is guiding us. It's guiding the project activities to ensure that the users that will be the final users of the EOSC are engaged at all processes of the development of the products internally to the EOSC. So it is a pool of test users that will be used to collect inputs and feedback on the services and the tools that we develop during the duration of the project. And very linked to that, there's also the focus on skills and training, because we understand that you need, as users, information and skills, and you need to be trained on how to use the services. So there will be a catalog of supporting materials and new developed ad hoc supporting materials to enable users to make the most out of the EOSC. One of the other objectives of EOSC Future is to support excellent science, and this will be done in collaboration with the 5 ESFRI science clusters. So these are EOSC projects that are tackling complex scientific problems and addressing societal challenges. So the excellent science part will make use of the most useful best practices for researchers. And these are the 5 science clusters involved in the process. So you see that they span across many disciplines. As you can imagine, putting everything together needs some knowledge of technology. So there is a core team of technical experts that is working on putting all the pieces together in a way they can work together. So this is the interoperability part. And of course, on the technological level, everything will be done using the most advanced knowledge and technical solutions to respond to researchers' needs and also to different research contexts and disciplines. And last but not least, in order to be useful and usable, the EOSC needs to be rich in content and services. One key element of the EOSC Future project will be to onboard new service providers and any other player that is relevant to the EOSC as a whole, to ensure that the EOSC can provide to researchers a rich and diverse environment for producing research. And with this, I am done, and I'm very happy to leave the floor to Bartosz.
Thank you very much. I will just share my screen, and please confirm if you can see it.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bartosz Wilk. I am based at Academic Computer Center Cyfronet, University of Science and Technology in Kraków, and I'm representing EOSC Enhance and EOSC Future project. I will be talking about the transition between the EOSC Enhance and the EOSC Future in terms of marketplace functionalities. So let's start with what we are used to and how we see the portal today. The portal is basically a gateway for all the EOSC resources, and marketplace can be received as a list of resources with some added values, because it's a platform based on a catalog of resources, bringing to the end users features like ordering, receiving recommendations, collecting the resources in a user space, advanced search mechanisms, and filtering capabilities to find out about services published in the EOSC portal, as well as providers who are publishing them. What will change when we'll transfer the technology to the EOSC Future? The first thing that will change is the perspective. The perspective that comes from the EOSC Enhance puts EOSC Portal in the center and delivers the functionalities through one single portal. EOSC Future strives to change this vision because of the complex nature of the project and the EOS core platform capabilities that will be offered with the implementation of minimal viable EOSC Future brings. So for the researchers, it will bring many direct or indirect added values, starting from added values for emerging communities who will be able to discover a comprehensive set of resources, and for organized communities who are also very valid stakeholders for the whole platform. It will provide some consensus on the tools and some support in form of EOS core platform tools, allowing to bring their level of maturity higher and base their operations on established processes and interoperability guidelines. So what are the researchers' benefits that will come from the platform itself? It's very difficult task to put it in 15 minutes presentation, but it all starts from the resource discovery. First of all, we will have new types of EOSC resources, being datasets, publication, and software. We'll also have more understanding of the resources by the better structured metadata models, such as data source services, taxonomy for access policies, or resource acquisition models. So things that are missing right now in the marketplace, and users are asking for this to solve their problems. Smart search and discovery mechanism will cover all of that and provide user-friendly user interface to navigate the platform. As I mentioned, the new types of resources is the background behind many of the activities that will be noticed by researchers. So dataset software publications will be attached to services and also available with some new user interfaces. To give you a slight example of or a slight feeling of what we are planning, I'm showing just a prototype of some user interface that can be delivered with the work in the EOSC Future. So as you can see on the top, we have different types of results. As you can see on the bottom, we have recommendations and also they are targeting different resource types and especially research products. The other angle of the development for researchers is the personalized content. So basically a new dashboard for a user will be prepared with personalized suggestions, profile management, and feedback mechanisms, and it will be fed with AI and machine learning based recommendations for various types of resources. To recall it from memory, when we are approaching the end of EOSC Future, you can notice how we are approaching our first steps in the user interface prototype designs. This is your Eos Dashboard, and you can notice that all the recent activities or notifications and information relevant for the users gathered from the whole environment is published there, as well as a personalized content like recommended publications or software, as well as popular articles in the Eos Portal. The third and probably one of the most difficult to explain to the group of researchers angle of or area of development that will happen in EOSC Future is the strive for interoperability. It will be noticed by researchers by automated service order delivery mechanisms, which will be provided by various providers, guidance through compatibility of various resource types. For example, combinations of services and data will be made possible with the interoperability guidelines and compatibility guidance from the user interface, and integrated information about resource popularity, availability, and usage. So our first steps in EOSC Future after 7 months of the project in these directions, after defining main goals, were very minor steps to make sure we are representing a valid use case So you can notice compatible software underpinned under a service that is able to work with this software, as well as software service bundles, so composition of services that can be ordered in the same time. Automated order delivery is the process you probably know from some of the providers who wanted to engage this, but in the scope of EOSC Future, the capabilities for providers are much bigger, and it will result with much more integrated environment and many more services available to be provisioned on demand. Popularity and availability, such as reliability and usage of services and research products will be available via the marketplace through the integrations with Argo messaging service and OpenAir usage count services. So basically, the end users will have a possibility to see how popular, how available, and how frequently used or downloaded are different types of resources. And final, fourth angle of this development is focused on researcher activities support. So preparing modules for skills and training, statistics to monitor open science growth, as well as researchers help desk to support learning open science practices. The only example I can give you in this area is the integration of a service which will allow to monitor the statistics about the open science relevant resources. So this is this picture, and this, as you can see, this picture is still incomplete, as we are still looking for valid use cases and comments, especially from you as a target group. So please consider joining EOSC Future user group to provide us with the needed guidance that we will use for our future development. So what will stay when all these things change is the focus on the customers. So basically researchers and non-research representatives from public sector, citizen scientists, or just citizens. This will be the focus of the front office of the EOSC platform. Also, the process we established in EOSC Enhance that guided us through analysis of the user needs will be used and developed further. We've been able to use it, as Federico mentioned, a number of times in scope of EOSC Enhance, producing surveys for the end users, as well as executing workshops with stakeholders to find out about their needs and their pain points, their motivations behind the use of the EOSC portal and the whole platform. And as it was already mentioned, user persona survey was also published by the EOSC Future project. This is what we get from these researches, from these research activities. And we get a personalized view of the end users. Of course, these are not real persons, but a representative of their motivations. This helps us really. This helps us a lot in designing, because we build empathy with the end users, having such a card in front of us. We also have some methods to validate our designs, and we've been also practicing this with feature-oriented surveys and feedback collection. We will be presenting user interface mockups throughout the whole project, as we were doing, as well as navigation prototypes, so actionable prototypes that can be tested by the end users. We also have developed some usability testing mechanisms, apart from broadly used Google Analytics and Hotjar analysis that helps us to understand the demographics of our users. We also have specialized for the feature methods specialized for a specific feature. And it allows us to also register interest group who wants to take part in the validation, as well as receive some comments about newly introduced features. The other method that is worth mentioning is A/B testing that we are also using currently in the marketplace, and for some specific scenarios we will be using this research method as well. There are more methods to analyze the user needs. We take them into account, and we will be joining forces with other work packages, because I'm speaking in my work package 5 head-on, to prepare the correct division of the user needs. So please be prepared to respond for our request to help us in the process and help us prepare a product that is valuable for you. This is the end of my presentation, and the methods presented here that help us understand the needs of the users also involve the one that Anka will be presenting after me. So please be prepared for some groundbreaking news. Thank you very much.
Bartosz, can you stop sharing so that I can start sharing my screen?
I would love to.
But you can't.
I can't. This is a typical technical problems when you're working remotely for 2 years. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Anka Hienola. I'm based in Helsinki. I work at the Finnish Meteorological Institute and also in EOSC Future. And my background is actually climate scientist. So I am in EOSC Future to fight with everybody there for a better portal. So let's go. You have been brought now up to date with the existence and also the capabilities of the Eos Portal. So here is the deal. For you, the researchers, Eos Portal should become the answer to all of your actions supporting your science journey, such as access to data and publications, repositories, computing, research infrastructures, physical and virtual services, training, project platforms, and we can continue with the list. But now only imagine for a second a portal where you will be provided with everything you need in your scientific life, just with few clicks of a button. What if instead of going through all the hundreds of data silos available in the great internet, you could be provided access to all these silos in one place? And where would that be? Eos Portal. Do you need a data repository? Who you gonna call? Eos Portal. Computational needs you have? Eos Portal, and we can continue like this. Do you need more than whatever I wrote here? You know the answer is Eos Portal. Of course, this is a sort of ideal world, but if you will, this is also our goal too. But how far are we now from this answer to everything? At the moment, I would say that we are pretty far away, because to me, as a researcher, the portal is not configured for users. The portal is counterintuitive, it's not easy to navigate, it's not comprehensible, not comfortable, and well, it's not user-friendly to me. However, to turn a possible unfulfilling experience into a good one, we need to create a great user experience. User experience, and this is an extremely simplified way, represents the quality of experience a person has when interacting with a specific design of a certain product. It will determine if you how you feel when you use this product. Do you like it or not? Are you going to use it again? Here you can see a few, let's say, characteristics that I would like to see in the future Eos Portal. And if you look at them, if you think about it, kind of follows the FAIR principles, but with a twist, in a kind of different way. Findable, accessible, at least operable, and definitely reusable. Plus a couple of added values. It has to be enjoyable and trustful. So basically, the user experience is about understanding the user behavior and his or her needs. In order to do that, it is customary to create a persona. And for those who are unfamiliar with the term, a persona is a fictional but very realistic description of a typical user. A persona is an archetype instead of an actually human being, but they should be described as they are real people. And the description has to be thorough. So we can add a photo in order to add memorability. We can add details about the persona's background information, such as name and age and location and occupation, as well as expertise, needs, goals, and motivation. This focus on a singular individual or a very small set of individuals fosters empathy for the specific users that we are designing for, meaning you, and it helps us break away from the attempt to design for absolutely everybody. However, we don't just invent personas. They are actually defined with rigor and precision as a byproduct of our requirement investigation process, which is usually based on surveys and interviews and other methods that Bartosz actually mentioned. So in order to create an understanding of the final user, we launched a survey a couple of months ago with questions derived from the fact that the main users of the Eos Portal will be researchers, but not only. Nota bene. So here are some results. 142 individuals answered the survey from 26 countries, of which 4 were from outside Europe and 7 from Eastern Europe. You will find out why I said that. I divided by this. Most of them were researchers, as you can see, 70%, but we had also some other categories that are listed here in the pie, from citizen scientists to EOSC educator, funders, policymakers, and so on. Of the researchers, most came from the natural sciences, followed by social sciences, engineering, social sciences, engineering, medical and health sciences, and finally, just a small portion from humanities and arts. We asked also if they were involved in any research infrastructure or e-infrastructures. Here we received a balanced yes, no answers. This is the burgundy color. And we asked if they were connected in any way to any of the EOSC projects. And here the majority said no, which is good, as we want actually unbiased people in terms of EOSC. In terms of level of expertise on technical knowledge and open science, the respondents scored mostly average, slightly towards high in both of them. Sorry, I jumped over something. So now the fun part starts. For the next questions, we grouped the researchers based on their level of seniority, as our initial thinking was that the needs and the challenges might differ with the authority gradient. So we analyzed also based on the location, as in Eastern Western Europe, but also by field of science. On the left-hand side for these questions, you see the answers broken down for each category, while on the right-hand side, you see the collective answers. So the postdocs and the senior scientists complained about the difficulty in finding and accessing data, lack of time and funding, while the PhD students complain about computing resources and data access. Chief scientists or professors are pretty much on the same page. Some of the answers are not recorded in the plots, but maybe it's worth mentioning. PhD students felt alone in their work. They lack motivation, skills, and also understanding. While the postdocs and senior scientists seem to be really overworked and stressed, either because of lack of funding and time, or lack of career perspective, or disagreements with superiors, bureaucracy, politics, and so on. In general, lack of access to scientific publications, bureaucracy, and also rigidity of the academic system was very common in Eastern Europe research environment. Data availability, data storage, and computing are recurring issues for natural sciences and engineering, and also social sciences, and to a lesser extent for the medical and health sciences. When asked to define the success, did I jump over something? No. When asked to define the success in their role, the number of publications remains the measure of scientific achievement, the measure of productivity and self-worth of the scientist. The runner-up, the research quality, increases in importance with the level of seniority, which was expected somehow, while mentoring and teaching and also efficiency are mostly prevalent in the senior scientist category. And funding, it's a strong factor for chief scientist or professor group. Here, we didn't find any difference between Eastern or Western Europe, nor between fields of science. What are the biggest challenges that they face when working with others? The majority of the respondents here collaborate with other colleagues when conducting research. So the main problem is time management, followed by data sharing, communication, difference in expertise, and also incompatible tools. Because of the very small number of answers, the data scientists and the librarians are not presented separately, but their answers basically follow the pattern found in the research group. The research facilitator, on the other hand, underlined the problems coming from differences in policies at national and disciplinary level. And again, no differences in responses were found when analyzing based on discipline or country of origin. I have to apologize for the next two slides. Unfortunately, I did not find a way to present these results graphically, so please bear with me here. What tools and platforms they use to support everyday work? I listed here only the main categories of the tools and platforms we found. And in red is just one example of each so that you understand what we are referring to. So we find that the choice of the tools depends primarily on the domain. Researchers from humanities, for example, mentioned many public tools for storing data and file sharing, like, you know, Google Drive or this kind of things. But they expressed almost no interest on analytical tools. On the other hand, the researchers from other domains show a very high interest in analysis tools, programming environments, HPC services, etc. So, of course, the choice of tools, as expected, depends primarily on the domain, but it also depends on the immediate availability of the tool for the researcher. So if the tool is offered by the organization, then of course it is used. Otherwise, the researchers tend to go towards publicly available services and products. Researchers are human beings, so of course free tools are preferred, but also custom solutions and commercial products were mentioned quite often. This is my second slide that I'm apologizing for. It's like in the previous one, the main categories are here, and in red, one example of each. The question was the tools and platforms they use to store, share, and analyze data. The distribution of the responses varied with the research domain. So basic platforms for storing and share data are used in all domains. The humanities researcher mainly focused on this kind of general ones, and quite rarely mentioned some other solution. On the other hand, in natural sciences and engineering technologies, researchers also use tools for data processing and analysis. So, and also in some research areas, researchers mostly use dedicated tools which are customized to what they do, to their needs. For example, the astronomers mention platforms that no one else is using. And as previously mentioned, the platforms that are commonly available and free are usually preferred. When we asked them to rank the importance of data collection and analysis, the respondents marked it as very important part of their work. And you can see also here, it's shown also by the analysis at the individual research domain here in the right. When asked to look into the future and what kind of role that data will play, even a larger number of respondents answer positively. And we should in EOSC Future take a note about this. However, when it comes to storage and analysis practices, the answers were mostly neutral, which shows that there is a lot to be done in this very specific area. We had also many other questions related to EOS Portal, but unfortunately the time works against me here, so I cannot present them to you in this moment. Based on the survey results, we were able to create several personas. We are still working on them, but you can see here one example, Lorenzo, 31. Who is a researcher. We added a professional background, the expertise, also in the knowledge in EOS as well. Goals, motivation, and also needs. These are very important. So basically, we now have an idea of what is missing, what researchers need, what has to be done. And we will work indeed to improve the portal so that it will become the researchers' #1 choice in their scientific work. Our work doesn't stop here. During the lifetime of the EOSC Future project, we will continue to deploy other user experience research methods, and we will continue to listen to the user's voice in order to improve and to evolve and to refine the portal towards the great tool that we all dream to have. And hopefully EOSC will rock your life. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Anka. This was really informative and entertaining as well. So now that we have heard and seen what the other people said about the EOSC portal, let's move on to the Slido session and let's see what the audience thinks about it. So we have prepared a few questions for you. So it's not the entire survey, of course, but you can find the link here in the chat. And you should be able to see my screen as well. So let's try and move to the first question. So this is just an icebreaker, of course. So you can log in. I mean, you know the drill at this point. I think we've been online for about 2 years, and pretty much everybody knows how to use Slido. I don't even need to explain. So let's see which countries will be represented here. We have quite a big Polish contingent, also France. So yeah, we have a few questions. It's based on the survey, of course, but it's not the entire survey. So just to get an understanding of what the audience thinks. Okay, well, we have quite a few countries out there. Pretty much all of the European regions are represented. Okay. So at this point, I would like to move on to the first, like a more interesting question, which is, which description best characterizes you? So these are the stakeholder categories that Anka introduced during her presentation. So please give us an idea of your background so that we can understand what kind of audience we have today. So this way, of course, we can also like analyze the results of these questions better. Of course, you will, and this way you will contribute to the improvement of the marketplace as well. So let's see, lots of data steward librarians, research facilitators as well. So not many researchers themselves, it seems. Let's see. So we have a few postdocs, senior scientists. Okay, this is interesting.
Just leave it to run for a few seconds more.
Yes,
maybe.
yes. This one. Let's leave it for a while.
If it okay, because it's still moving. That's why.
Yeah. Okay, so we have more research facilitators now. Let's see. So maybe we can move on to the next one. Okay. And here, so this is the first like actual question. So what are the biggest challenges you face when working with others? So of course, this is an open text. So feel free to provide your feedback. I don't know if any of the speakers want to comment or say anything more about this specific question on what they found in the survey. We see a lack of time appearing.
Yeah, I can say so. A lack of time for sure was mentioned as well in the survey answers, but also like the different working behavior and habits between different teams in different institutions that have to work together for a project, or different priorities given from the institution that allow researchers to devote limited time to collaboration, for example.
Yeah, we also see, for example, here mentioned the fragmentation of initiatives. What does data means? that's a good question. Sharing project-related repositories for different institutions. I think this is a matter of interoperability.
That's a big one.
Well. Yeah. Any other comments? I don't know if Anka, if you want to say anything about this specific question.
I also found quite a lot in our survey. Cultural differences were a problem. In general, the communication. I was kind of very intrigued by the fact that nobody complained that they don't have one project platform where they can do everything there. And I was kind of hoping that people will ask for something like this, because if EOS would be able to provide this kind of platform would be great, but maybe that they don't even think about this idea.
Yeah, well, in a sense, maybe this comment here, like this comment here, that says a good trustworthy infrastructure in alternative to Google and share the knowledge. Yes. So it's kind of like
kind of like indeed project platform, especially when it's the collaboration, cross-country collaboration. It's very difficult to share data.
Yeah.
And the project platformer, you put everything there, and only the people, your colleagues from the project can access and work on that data. That would be so helpful. At least in my field of work, this is a problem.
There's people that even they don't dare to dream of a complete infrastructure yet. The time will come.
No, dare to dream, dare to dream.
Yeah, so I'll move on to the next question. Okay, we have a few more. So let's move on. What tools and platforms do you generally use to support your everyday work routine? So this was also part of the survey. So in this case, we're asking your actual, like your current experience. So if you want to share. Let's see. Yeah, the first one, as expected.
Somebody drives. Hey, Python.
Yeah, I mean, like here we have a few of the things that we all use. So there's Slack, Google, of course, Nextcloud. So lots of these tools that we're in a sense almost forced to use because of the absence of this almighty tool you were mentioning. More Python. GitLab, of course, there's Teams. Yeah, there's quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, WeTransfer also is pretty common.
GitHub with the heart.
Everybody loves GitHub. It's okay. So at this point,
might have got it.
So at this point, I would move to the next question, because I mean we kind of know these ones, but we're interested in understanding what do you miss most in the tools that you're currently using.
Project platform.
A coffee machine.
Proper coffee.
Human interaction.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's something we're all missing, I guess, over the last couple of years. Interoperability.
Yes. Data access.
There you go. Digital preservation options and support. User experience, yeah, and Bartosz here.
Do you miss this UX flows?
No, I guess they mean that's something that
flawless UX.
Documentation for dummies.
So training, learning. Yeah. Suitable facilities for secure data storage and collaboration. Yes.
This is what you wanted, Anka.
Well, it's my work.
Yeah, so convergence, yeah, this is what you were mentioning as well. Someone prefers tea, understandable. Repeatability of others' results. Yeah, this one is also interesting. And here, Bartosz, you see people are picking up on the UI UX. All right.
Yeah, but
Should
secure
I?
data storage is out of my scope.
Not Google. With biscuits. Next time when we do this in person, then it's coffee, tea, biscuits.
Exactly. We'll have something to eat. Yeah, someone is saying we have either secure or usable. So like the platform that are one usually are not the other.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall I move on to the next one?
Yes.
Okay, so let's move on to the, let's say the final question in a sense. So which of the following features would you like to see the most on the EOSC Marketplace? So here you can pick maximum 3. There's also an option that says other, of course. So like if there is anything that we didn't think of, feel free to choose that one, and then we will investigate in the next question. So feel free to.
Can I mention? So there's a comment from Francoise. Hi, Francoise, in the chat that says that my longest experience of thematic service provider is that users in general do not ask for things they do not already have. So like anticipating the needs is what we are also trying to do with the user group, I would say.
Yes, I think that's also really important, like also to feel the community, to have the community feel involved, like directly, so that they can actually have a say in what's going on. I think that it was an important step. We can see some questions. So sorry, some of the answers. Getting lots of responses. So it seems guidelines for working with EOSC are really important. Information about the services.
I'm really curious what are EOSC services in this scope? The services that are offered with the marketplace or tools like marketplace? What is EOSC?
Well, here we're talking about you see the most on the marketplace. Okay. So I would say within the marketplace.
And maybe more to come.
Okay, well, so use cases and guidelines is quite popular. Okay, so we move on to the last question, which is, well, if you have answered other or just in general, as we were saying earlier. So if there's anything we didn't think of that you would like to suggest, or something that you...
Not only if you answered other.
Exactly, so in general.
Everybody can answer here. I have several, but I suppose...
We have the first couple appearing. Yeah, this one. Why should I use EOSC? That's the tutorial.
Allow us to answer you in 1.5 years.
A tutorial of the provided services. This one.
Yes, easy access to data and guidelines to reuse. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, videos, so more organized and structured videos about the use and functionality of EOSC. Machinery.
Which does all my work and makes coffee. Girl, you have a husband.
Okay, well, so I mean, yeah, while people keep on writing, so if anyone of the speakers wanted to have any final comments before we wrap it up, first of all, I would like to thank everyone for joining. It was a really interesting meeting. So for any final comments, the floor is yours.
You can start, Bartosz.
Thank you for all your answers. I feel that we gained some really valuable knowledge today, especially about the coffee machines and the preferences between coffee and tea. All the other relevant to the EOSC portal will be all, of course, taken into account when we are approaching the design process. I hope that we inspired some of you to join user groups or use the tools we are striving to develop to the best of your needs. Thank you for today and goodbye.
Thanks, everyone. So I'll stop sharing. Thanks for participating in our Slido tool. And I'll see you at the next and final EOSC Enhance webinar, which takes place next week on the 25th of November. We will introduce all the final changes that were implemented on the EOSC portal throughout the duration of EOSC Enhance. You will find the recording of this webinar and the slides on the EOSC portal on the event page in the next couple of days. So thanks again. I'll thank the speakers again and see you next week for Who's There. Bye.
Bye, thank you.